Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Schaefer's is celebrating its 79th anniversary with special rebates, financing, savings, and free delivery store-wide.
Update your home with innovative Samsung appliances and save up to an additional $900 with rebates. Samsung Innovation saves you energy and time with easy-to-connect appliance technology. Plus, during Schaefer's anniversary, get free delivery on your appliance purchase.
So hurry in during Schaefer's 79th anniversary event, going on now.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tagged machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome into Ticket Weeknights, starting off with a bang here on the Husker Football Hour. Austin Oerman here, joined by producer extraordinaire Harrison Ahrens, a.k.a. the last hour pregame crew, here last half an hour from Saturday. 402-464-5685 if y'all want to be a part of the Husker Football Hour, normally with Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. Combined, Harrison and I might know half as much about football as Tom does, and specifically the Huskers, but you know what? We will give it a go anyways. First of all, Harrison, good evening. Welcome into Take It Weeknights.
Yeah, I always feel a little bit naked when I'm sitting in this chair. It's just such a new experience for me. But yeah, happy Monday night to everyone. You guys are welcome to join in. 402-464-5685. Me and Austin will break down some Husker football, and then possibly if we get Tom Shatel later down the road, we'll bring him in. But nonetheless, you and me got it covered till then.
That is indeed the plan. Let's start with it, Harrison. A 28-21 win for Nebraska. The two big stories on the offensive side of the ball, at least in name only, would be the quarterback and the running back in TJ Lateef and Emmett Johnson. But this wouldn't be a Husker Football Hour if Tom Shatel wasn't bringing up the offensive line. So let's actually start there in the trenches. The Nebraska offensive line allows no sacks and generally did a good job of preventing havoc. You know, defense travels, run game travels. Certainly the run game did for Nebraska behind that offensive line.
Yeah, and you know what? The same thing that we said about that 9-sack game is that's a collective stat as a whole. Same thing goes for 0 sacks. Offensive line did a great job in pass protection, but then you credit TJ Lateef for doing a job getting the ball out of his hands quick. You know, at times one time he did a great job throwing towards the blitz, and then in the run game is where I tip my cap. Really great job getting to that second level. And then when you have that ability and all of a sudden you got wide receivers on the edges getting to the second level as well, that's where I was most impressed of, was guys were not only getting on the initial block, they're doing a really good job on that second level as well. And that's what led to, I'm sure we'll get into it, one of the best days Emmett Johnson's had in a Nebraska uniform.
Only 2 tackles for loss for the UCLA defense against Nebraska, and they went for a combined -4 yards. Nebraska did a really good job of staying on schedule, in large part because of that run game that we can touch on. Here, Emmett Johnson, 28 carries for 129 yards. That's 4.5 yards per pop. He had some explosive plays, Harrison, but more often than not for Nebraska, those explosive plays came in the pass game. But even if you look at the running game, where you look for Nebraska, obviously, really efficient day overall. 4 quote-unquote big rushing plays, which Stat Broadcast qualifies as rushes of 10 yards or more. Longest rush of the day was TJ Lateef for 14 yards. That was in the first quarter. Otherwise, Emmett Johnson went for 13 twice and 12 once. But I think Nebraska found that balance, kind of like USC did last week against Nebraska. Sure, you don't have the big house call play in the run game, but you're able to hit UCLA for 4, 5, 6 yards pretty repeatedly, and then you get one into the third level where you're one tackle away. I thought Nebraska's run game did a great job of keeping Nebraska, especially in second and manageable, and keeping Nebraska out of third down situations.
Yeah, I mean, how many times in that game where we're sitting there looking at second and a couple of yards, second and 3 yards, or, second and a yard? It was when you get that type of production on first down, it's just a nightmare for any defensive coordinator. And that's where Holgerson's offense really looks so good this game, was he had the entire playbook on second down just about every time. And, you got a team who's hurting and stopping the run. They got to double down on it. And then TJ Lateef was confident enough to where it felt like they, gave him the adult playbook as well. I know that was a conversation. Do you give him the kids menu or the full playbook? DP and I talked about it. You don't put that guy as the second string quarterback unless you're able to give him that playbook. Otherwise, you put in Gramstead. So, just a really good job collectively on that first down. And then again, that allows that second down attack to be so much more versatile. Nebraska did a good job all game of just not being behind the chains. And that was similar to USC, where USC had so much success running the ball. And again, we talked about before why they decided to yuck it around the yard when they got to the red zone. I'm not entirely sure. But that's where they're keeping Nebraska's defense just so unbalanced. You can't stop the run, but you also know you got a very talented quarterback in this USC game and this UCLA game to where they can punish you if you can fully commit to the run. And I was just really, really impressed by that first down production altogether. I mean, that makes the game easy if you can pick up that type of yards.
It really does. Nebraska actually gets out first downed by UCLA 21-20, but Nebraska faced only 8 third downs as opposed to 14 for UCLA. Now, both teams do convert more than 50% of those third downs, but 5 of 8 on third down for Nebraska was a key. One of them that happened before third down was a sneaky big play in the game. UCLA down to just a couple of timeouts. They're trying to get that stop and give their offense one last crack at things. Nebraska's last quote-unquote explosive play came with about 2.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Nebraska gets the ball back with just under 5 minutes to play, and they're trying to bleed the clock. 2nd and 3, Nebraska's run it pretty well. They run for 7 on the first play. What does Dana Holgerson do? Opens up the playbook, throws a pass from TJ Lateef. Isaiah Hunter is the one that ends up catching it, goes for 17 yards, taking Nebraska all the way down into UCLA territory at the 42-yard line. One more first down for Nebraska, and that was pretty much all she wrote. You think of that situation, Harrison, maybe in years past, Nebraska has a chance to go ice that game, and maybe they just get boring and run it. That's all they feel like they can do. But I really like the confidence from Dana Holgerson, putting the ball in TJ Lateef's hands, get it to another one of his big playmakers in Isaiah Hunter. And more important than the time, even in that situation, was getting another first down, force UCLA to use up that timeout. They do eventually by the end. They get the free one with the 2-minute warning, of course, but then Nebraska picks up that one final third down at the end. And that, to me, was really the mark of a confident, calm, poised offensive coordinator and really whole offensive unit, is that how many times have we seen Nebraska in that position to ice a game with one drive, 2 or 3 first downs, and they're not able to do it. Then disaster ensues. Defense can't get that one stop. Either it's the game tying or the go-ahead score. Nebraska loses, even though they could have had the ball last. Nebraska actually did get the ball last with a freshman quarterback at the helm. I was really impressed by that final drive.
Yeah, a lot of it, too, is just, you hear it a lot. You don't want teams to be conservative, but you just ride the momentum of what's happening. And at that point in time, if you're Holgerson, why wouldn't you have trust? I mean, the dude, what point was it? Did we get an incomplete pass from TJ Lateef? Third quarter?
Yeah, it was either late third or early fourth quarter on that one to Mekhi Nelson that probably could have been caught.
Exactly. So, I mean, he's playing a perfect game. And at that moment of time, you're like, I don't really trust him. He hasn't been doing it he was phenomenal all night long. And that's to me of what I want to see out of my offensive coordinators. I don't want a team that's going to always go for it on fourth down, especially when the first 3 quarters they were struggling. But if you're in an offense that is having a lot of success and you got an opportunity to go win the game and everything's been clicking, that's when you lean on it. So I thought Holgerson just did a really good job throughout the entire night. And then the collection of Emmett Johnson, TJ Lateef, and the offensive line, as we mentioned as well, just playing in really good rhythm and consistency. And then when you're playing and you're kind of hitting that level, you can be a little bit more bald. You're just not as, I said bald, but a little bit more bold. Yeah, there we go. You can be a little bit more risk-taking because the defense is on its heels more than you are scared of them. So you got to attack it. And again, the way that offense was playing, that to me was the right call.
28 points is a little below the magic number that I've usually had for Nebraska at 30, but Nebraska didn't get that many possessions. Only 8 drives for Nebraska. One of the drives at the end of the second quarter lasted 1 play in 6 seconds. It was the kneel down, and then you did have that drive at the end of the game, which is a legitimate drive that Nebraska put together, 9 plays for 36 yards. But again, a few of those were kneel downs at the end of the game for Nebraska. So really called about 6 plays for 40 yards is probably a truer estimate of what Nebraska was able to do there at the end of the game. So if you think about it, 6.5 real drives, Nebraska scores on 4 of them. Didn't need to score on the last one, obviously. And even Harrison, the 2 drives that didn't score for Nebraska, ended up taking 16 plays, 55 yards, and 9 minutes and 41 seconds off the clock when Nebraska has a 3 or a 2 possession lead at that point. Now, the second punt, of course, leads into the defense, which we'll get into in our next segment. But for a freshman quarterback to go 13 for 13 to start his first career start that close to home, and for Nebraska to score off of its first 3 drives, they did it in a variety of ways. It was the workman-like first drive, 9 plays, 61 yards, and then it was the explosive plays. I know the final margin of 1 touchdown for Nebraska fans, maybe you want that elevated a little bit by how well the game started, but start to finish, I thought it was probably the most complete game Nebraska's offense played.
Oh, 100%. And we can get into the defense, but I honestly thought the defense, like, that's maybe how you got to play it. Nico is an incredible athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout that game, I kept just sitting there thinking, like, man, what if he was still on Tennessee? We might be talking about Tennessee in a real big way, but he was the guy on that team forever. There's a reason he's leading them in passing and rushing. But what Nebraska was able to do was just kind of allow them to run and make Nico beat you. And at times he did, but that kind of felt like the game plan. And then the score gets a little bit close because how many times were teams just taking off running, getting tackled inside the bounds? A lot. Nebraska as well. That was a game that a really clean game as well. For the most part, there wasn't a ton of stoppages. Both teams were running the ball really efficiently. UCLA was almost constantly running either with the QB or with their, they had 3 running backs they put in there at times. But the clock, it was going by fast. And that's a game where you possession for possession. I thought, 21-28, it might feel like a close score, but that's not a bad UCLA team, especially with who they have at quarterback. And the way that clock was ticking, that's what Nebraska needed to be consistently for 4 quarters to win that game. And that's exactly what turned out to be. You credit UCLA for putting up a fight, but again, with the style of game that they were running, it doesn't surprise me that game ended up coming down to the last few possessions.
Well, and there's something to be said, too, for, Nico Yamaleva once again ends up as UCLA's leading passer and its leading rusher. 17 of 25 through the air, 191 yards, 2 tutties, and then 15 carries for 86 yards with a long of 21 on the ground. I said this before the game, and I need to bring it up here again just to validate what I said. Nebraska didn't ask TJ Lateef to do that. Nebraska didn't need that performance from TJ Lateef like it's asked Adrian Martinez to do, like it's asked Taylor Martinez to do, like it asked Dylan Raiola to do it sometimes. Shoot, like it asked Jeff Sims and Heinrich Harburg to be at times in Matt Rule's first year back in 2023. It's a huge step in the right direction for Nebraska to not need to require its young starter or its, limited in some capacity starter to do everything for this team. UCLA asked that of Nico Yamaleva. He didn't get off to the best start. Nebraska, bowed up in some pretty big moments, including the 4th down stop when UCLA goes for it on 4th and 2. That leads to 7 points for Nebraska. UCLA put a lot more on Nico Yamaleva's plate than Nebraska put on TJ Lateef's. And I think that paid dividends and is a huge credit to the rest of the roster for stepping up and not making the true freshman quarterback feel like he needed to go all Superman.
Yeah, and I think that was a big part of a lot of the conversation. And some people took this the wrong way. But it's like TJ Lateef had some guys he could lean on, some position groups he could lean on. That doesn't mean lean on as in TJ Lateef just can't do it. It just means you can avoid risk and you don't need to have, because even, with Nico Yamaleva, the amount of hits he was taking, some of them, he obviously didn't get hurt in that game, but you don't want to put your quarterback in a position like that either. And you got a great running back in Emma Johnson. You got an offensive line that's starting to click. You got really good wide receivers that maybe we feel like we've been wanting to see more of them. There's nothing wrong with managing the game. And that's kind of what it felt like with TJ Lateef. Just did a really good job. And Holgerston gave him some option plays to where he could either hand it off or pull it himself. And he did a good job with his decision-making. He wasn't forcing anything, it felt like, the entire game. And when he was seeing blitzes, like I said earlier. I think it was very early in the game. He recognized it, immediately made the right read, threw towards the blitz. Yeah, he could lean on the guys. He didn't have to be the number one answer. Where if you take that quarterback out of UCLA, how many wins does that team really have? They have to the entire team has to lean on him. And it's just, kind of leads the system for UCLA where if he has a bad game, they're just not going to get it done. And even when he has a decent game like he did versus us, there's still not a lot of production around him to where they fall short.
1961, we see your text. We'll get to it here probably in our next segment because we got more to talk about here, but it's an interesting conversation that we will definitely jump off and into. Another thing that I've been harping on a little bit, Harrison, is Nebraska figuring out who its best players are. You look at the touches breakdown, Latif 13, 15. He also was asked to run the ball 5 times. Not many of those designed, but there's still 5 carries for him.
I kind of like that number though, because a lot, like to your point, not a lot of those were designed. He wasn't just taking off the entire game. Like he didn't. At no point did it look like, wow, that's a young and inexperienced quarterback, which was my biggest surprise. I never doubted his talent, but the poise he had, I was just really impressed with the whole game.
Oh, absolutely. Just enough, but not too much.
Exactly.
Maybe to threaten. Isaiah Mosley gets a carry for 3 yards. Harbrick has the one short conversion sneak for 2 yards. And then in the receiving game, Ja'Cory Barney leads a number of catches with 6 for 19 yards and the touchdown. You also have 3 catches from Emmett Johnson, 3 from Dane Key, and 3 from Isaiah Hunter. We talk about this a lot in basketball. Football's a little bit different, gladiator sport, warrior sport, collision sport, all that. And we really tout depth and having a good 2 deep, especially that skill position for Nebraska, where you have a lot of young guys the staff has been excited about for a couple years. But Nebraska's best players were the only ones to catch passes. That's not a knock on Luke Lindenmeyer. He's played a big role for this team and still played a big role in that game despite not having any catches. Quinn Clark, I think Cortez Mills got in the game as well. I think Keelan Smith too. But those guys didn't have the ball thrown their way. And that's okay. Nebraska put the game in the hands of its best players. It did consistently. And I think that was a hugely important piece because it's great to have depth. It's great to have guys you're excited about. But this is the meat of conference play. If those guys aren't going to be productive and in ways that they're just open and so you don't have to force them the ball or scheme them the ball, fine, they can be out there. But Nebraska's best playmakers were on the field the vast majority of that game. And I think paring down the rotation in a way that makes sense, like it did against UCLA, and probably like it will against Penn State and Iowa after a bye week, it's great to have depth, but I think Nebraska's at a point now where it can see the benefits of paring down that rotation, have your best players on the field more, give them more opportunities. I like that development for Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, you mentioned it, like we're deciding if we want to play in some nice weather or some really likely crappy weather.
Right.
And now's not the time to figure out what your depth looks like. You should know by now. If you don't know right now, probably not a good idea to put them in a really crucial situation. Right. Not only is it bad for your team, it's bad for that player in particular. So like when you get to this point in the season, it's great for Nebraska to be in this position because how many years prior were we sitting here still trying to figure out some of that depth? And to me, that's another really good sign of this offense. It's been up and down. I understand at times, but you look around and even Dylan Raiola before the injury was on pace to break some records here at Nebraska. So this offense has been taking jumps. And this is one of the times where, to your point, it's good to have that pairings of like, these are the guys that are the quote unquote best players or in that group of the best players on the team. And we're not sifting through our second, third string, trying to figure out like, well, the guy A doesn't have today. We need something. We're down by 7. We're down by 10, does second string or third string. We're at a point where we kind of know. And that's a feeling that, I can't say how many years we've had in the past.
My favorite play of the game, Harrison, was the wheel route to Emmett Johnson.
How could it not be?
That to me was the culmination of some really good play calling, right? Nebraska's going to run it. They're going to run it. They're going to look at their receivers when they want to throw it. The broadcast on TV pointed this out. You see the linebacker take a couple false steps. Think, okay, they're going this way with it. Completely lost sight and lost track of Emmett Johnson. Pretty good recovery, actually, to get close to making that play, but it was too little, too late. Great ball from Latif. Great call at the right time. And that's really where I felt like, Nebraska's kind of rolling right now. Nebraska's kind of playing with UCLA. They have them kind of like the puppet on the string. I love that play call. I love for Nebraska that it worked out. And part of a big day out of the backfield for Emmett Johnson receiving too. Obviously the screen that goes for 56 yards, a huge play there in the first half. But man, to set the tone then with that 40-yard wheel route pass for Emmett Johnson for a touchdown. That was like, okay, this is the type of play, the type of moment that you build up to as an offensive play caller. You took your shot and it worked to perfection. I thought that was chef's kiss beautiful.
Schemed it up, and again, it goes back to what are you doing on early downs to keep that team on their heels? That's how you get that. You say he's on his heels. That's why you see that linebacker taking one step, two step, looks to his left. I got a problem. There goes the running back on the wheel route. Your point, almost a great recovery, but it also, Emmett Johnson's just too fast that when you let him go like that, he's tough to catch up. But, they were fully ready to sell out for the run. And it makes sense because you have been getting gashed all night long by the run. And Nebraska, once again, I think it was a third and short, second and short. I don't even know if it was third down yet on that play. But it was just a beautiful time for Holgorsen to make that play call, as you said, because you got a team that's reeling and starting to just fully commit and guess.
So here's Nebraska's drive. It was to start the third quarter. So a run for 13 on the first play, run for 7, run for 4, TJ Lateef scramble for 7, and then first down conversion on a pass to Isaiah Hunter for 4 yards to get Nebraska to the UCLA 40. So Nebraska was on schedule pretty much the entire drive. Then on first down, they scheme up that shot.
So yeah, it was a first down play. And then to your point, it was like set the lowest, I think you said, was 4 yards on that drive.
Yeah.
UCLA was at a point to where they had to just completely commit because they were getting gashed through the run game. And that's what you get. When you're just abusing a team on early downs, they're going to have to really, make a risky play call or kind of, guessing
or just get
isn't
so
the right word.
It.
Yeah. Like, you have to make a statement and get a stop. Otherwise, they're going to do it to you all night long. And then Holgorsen obviously reads a little bit of the psychology of what UCLA might be thinking here, and he calls the perfect play call.
1961. Emmett Johnson for Heisman. His head coach sure thinks so. We'll take a break. We'll talk about that when we return. It is the Husker Football Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tag machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place, and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Husker fans know when you work together, great things happen. At Cornhusker Bank, they're more than your financial partner. With 5 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Omaha, they're your neighbors, your teammates, and your biggest fans. Whether you're saving for your first home, planning your future, or growing your business, they're right here in Nebraska to help you move forward together. Visit cornhusker.bank to learn more. Cornhusker Bank, member FDIC, doing life together.
Deciding on a college with your high school senior can be a little overwhelming for parents. But applying for money to pay for it is simple. FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, is now easier than ever with fewer questions and faster fill-out times. If you have a high school senior, now is the time to apply for thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing. Get started, Nebraska, at dothefafsa.org. Sponsored by Education Quest Foundation. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. It is the Husker Football Hour here, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Austin Oerman and Harrison Orange with you for this edition, with you till 7 o'clock. Plenty more great Ticket weeknights content coming your way here as well. 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. You can, just like texter 1961, who simply texts in Emmett Heisman, question mark. According to his head coach, yeah. According to his head coach, he should be a finalist for the Heisman and get a plane trip to New York, or maybe just a Doak Walker Award finalist, if not winner. Here is the case right now, Harrison, for Emmett Johnson. Right now, he is the leading rusher in the Power 4 conferences, second leading rusher in the country. He is 50 yards behind Cam Cook of Jacksonville State. Emmett Johnson, 203 carries for 1,131 yards, good for 5.6 a pop. Does have a long of 50 yards and 11 touchdowns on the ground. You also think about what he's done through the air, 300 yards on 36 catches and 3 touchdowns. So an FBS leading 239 touches, has the most carries in FBS as well for 1,431 yards. Matt Rule even pointed out Emmett Johnson is accounting for 37% of Nebraska's offense.
That's more than I even realized
so far this year. I think more than a lot of people would have realized. And obviously, the stat that's been thrown out is the first Husker ever with 100 receiving and rushing yards in the same game. I'm sure Trey Palmer got close if you categorize one of his as a reverse against Purdue, but it doesn't work that way. Same with like Xavier Betts against Northwestern. But either way, Emmett Johnson becomes the first known Husker with 100 and 100. That is the numbers-based case for Emmett Johnson. And then you pile on, that 37% number, just how much he means to Nebraska, the cool story. So I'll ask you just first, Harrison, Emmett Johnson, Heisman semifinalist, Heisman Trophy finalist. Where are you at with where Emmett Johnson has performed so far this season?
Statistically, you could definitely make that. He should be in the race. The problem is, we spoke a little bit off air. There's a vibe moment check that almost everybody needs. And you probably just saw it this weekend if Mendoza keeps it up in that Penn State game, Indiana versus Penn State. That drive where he even took a sack on that first down and then drove the ball all the way downfield. It was a 90-plus yard drive. And that's what people are going to remember when they're casting in those ballots if Mendoza's their guy. Emmett Johnson on a wheel route versus UCLA I don't know if that's enough of a vibe check to put him in there. And, realistically, it's just not. It was a phenomenal play. It was great, but it was not a big-time moment where everyone across the nation was like, well, I mean, APM helps, but UCLA kind of hurts you in that one. He'd put up some crazy numbers, and Iowa would have almost had to have won that game versus Oregon. And I don't know who they have next week or this upcoming week. And they would have to be like a college football playoff contender. And then Emmett Johnson goes off for like 150 yards versus a good Iowa defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're cooking. Now we can really maybe put it in there. But there's going to have to be like another incredible game down the road where he just has that moment. And it sounds stupid, but you can just go through Heisman's in the past and they almost all have that drive.
They do. And even let's just think about just the Nebraska players who've been in legitimate like Heisman conversation. I'm not going to throw Adrian Martinez in there. That was always more hypothetical. What if he develops that sort of thing? You think about, here's the easy comp, Amir Abdullah. Okay, 2014, Fear Amir, that whole campaign. Amir goes 264 carries, 1,600 yards, 6 yards a pop, 19 touchdowns, as well as 22 catches for 270 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. So 22 total touchdowns. The year before that, though, 281 carries for almost 1,700 yards, another 26 catches for 230 and 2 more touchdowns, only 11 total touchdowns. Really burst onto the scene, though, as a sophomore in 2012 when he averaged 5 yards a pop over 226 carries. Also had 24 catches and a couple touchdowns mixed in there as well. So by the time Amir Abdullah was a senior, he was a Heisman finalist. Emmett Johnson has been a good player for Nebraska, but not that can't-miss guy. This is really his first year where he bursts onto the scene, which, to Matt Rule's point, well, maybe we shouldn't release these lists or rankings or watches, before midseason. So we can really see and not get these thoughts in our brain about it. And that's why maybe Emmett Johnson doesn't get the respect nationally that he deserves in some of these conversations. You think about Ndamukong Suh, same sort of thing. Really built up to that.
He
was
also
a one-man wrecking crew.
Texas.
Had the game versus Texas, and it's that game. He was the heart and the soul of a defense that had been really good for a couple years and built up to that moment when he put on an absolute clinic. Eric Crouch, maybe a little bit different case where that was just a weird year for the Heisman in 2001. Yep. But even his case was he had that cool moment in the long run where he's running over, around, and through people for the 90-plus yard touchdown run. And, Nebraska's back after a couple of years away. Hey, they have a chance to play for a national championship. He's, so the option's not dead. It's not going anywhere, folks. He had his moment. Emmett Johnson, like you said, the moment against UCLA, not so much. Now, if Nebraska was 8-1 or 8-2 or 9-1 right now, I think the talk's a little bit louder. But because Nebraska's 7-3, and Emmett Johnson has been a big piece, probably more responsible for more of the offense than, like you said, people recognize. But where's the marquee win for Nebraska? If they beat USC in the blackout and Emmett Johnson has that game, maybe. If they beat Michigan for the first ranked win, in 28 tries at the time, and Emmett Johnson has a big game, maybe that's the moment. But it still leans to be a quarterback award, even after a cornerback won it last year in Travis Hunter. But again, vibes. Ashton Jeanty finishes runner-up. Obviously an incredible year, 374 rushes for 2,600 yards, 7 yards a pop. Emmett's been good. He hasn't been Ashton Jeanty good, which is kind of what it seems like it takes to get a running back into that conversation. Even Scattaboo last year, 293 for 1,721 touchdowns, but there's the vibe. They kind of surprising Arizona State team. Emmett Johnson should be up for the Doak Walker Award.
Yep.
Just if you look at the numbers. Emmett Johnson going to New York as a Heisman finalist, he's got to pass Mendoza. I don't think it's going to happen because of vibes. Ty Simpson gets the steady as she goes. Alabama hype. You look even at Diego Pavia, who's doing like Lamar Jackson light with the way that he's carried Vanderbilt's offense in a few of these games. It's not going to be Arch Manning. It's not going to be Carson Beck. Maybe like your preseason odds would register. Emmett's having a heck of a year. And even when he doesn't make it to New York, that doesn't cheapen or discredit anything he's done. But for as good as Emmett Johnson has been, he hasn't had that transcendent Heisman season yet.
And that's, even if he does have that season,
it'd be next year if he comes back and he puts
winning
up
that award
year.
is so brutal if you're not, because we can go full circle back to Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Like, no, they didn't have that big win. They weren't, realistically, that was the best defense in the country. You can make the argument.
Maybe the best defense of the decade. Or close.
Seriously. But because they were not in the position to go to the championship or even, in the playoffs, it was like, all right. Didn't matter. And like his stats were so insane. I mean, he had more tackles for loss and sacks than entire defenses altogether.
Yeah.
And one player would outperform an entire, and he didn't get it. And I think he might even place like third, or I don't even think he was like second place in that award. And I think that was the Ingram year where well, maybe, but then you had a running back go get that award. But what was the difference between those two teams? Is Ingram was in a position to go and win the whole thing. So that was the challenging part for not only you have to have that marquee game, that a team that's in position to really go contend. That's not the way I think the award should be handed out, but that's the way they've handed it out in the past. It's just not this year. I really doubt. Maybe you can make the argument because some of those big names, between Klubnik and Nussmeier, Drew Aller, there's a lot of names that you maybe would have put there. It could be a quote-unquote weak year where he sneaks in there. But I'll tell you what, we're going to have some excellent games on the ground and through the air, I guess, for Emmett Johnson for these next 2 games if he's probably going to find a way in.
Even the suitcase back there in 2009, just going through Nebraska's schedule, they beat the brakes off of Florida Atlantic, handle Arkansas State, go on the road and lose a heartbreaker to Virginia Tech 16-15, beat Louisiana in the final non-conference game. One of the early kind of defining games for Ndamukong Suh could have been that game in the rain down in Columbia, Missouri. Nebraska was down 12-0 in that game in the third quarter. In fact, entering the fourth quarter, and 27 unanswered points for the Huskers in the fourth as they win a top 25 battle. If you look at the stats for Ndamukong Suh that day, he ends up with 6 tackles, 1 for loss, and a sack, with an interception, 2 passes defended, and a forced fumble. Right? Okay, so there's the start of a moment, but that team wasn't able to keep it up. They lose back-to-back home games to Texas Tech by 21, and then to Iowa State 9-7. By then, it's like, there's just not the offense there for Nebraska. Then, of course, you beat Oklahoma in an unranked versus number 20 Oklahoma matchup in Lincoln. You beat Kansas. You beat Kansas State. You go on the road. You beat Colorado in a 28-20 game. And then you have another chance at the game against Texas. And his stats in that game were absolutely nuts. I had him pulled up just a second ago, and
they're unreal. I mean,
it was 4.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and 12 tackles in that game. Not in 2 matchups against Texas, in one game.
3 quarterback chucks as well. I mean, he was chucking McCoy across the yard. It was dominant. But and that's where the win and loss part kind of sucks, because if you look at those numbers, you'd be like, well, you're losing games, but you're holding teams to 9, 13 points. Like, is it really to say like that's Ndamukong Suh? He didn't live up to the moment. No, I mean that him and I think it was Crick on that line as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tandem, but Suh was the leader of it, and they were shutting down offenses left and right. But you ended up with a loss, so it almost just like kind of doesn't eradicate the stats, but it eradicates any sort of momentum you may have had.
And I'm not even going to say you have to be a generational type of guy to win the Heisman. Obviously, look at Travis Hunter, kind of one of one. Ashton Genty had a really good year as the 1-2. Jaden Daniels, really good. Would you consider that an all-time season? No, it's kind of in the Lamar Jackson category for me, and Lamar did it first. So Jaden Daniels was really good. Not trying to slight the young man that meant at all. Caleb Williams was pretty good for USC, a team that didn't really accomplish a whole lot in the postseason there. And your runner-up that year was Max Duggan, who was the vibes.
Yeah.
Right when TCU makes it to the national championship game. 2021, you have Bryce Young win it, thrown for just shy of 5,000 yards, 47 tutties, and 7 picks. 2020, of course, Devontae Smith beats out Trevor Lawrence with an incredible year, averaging 16 yards a catch and 23 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, in one of the best offenses we've ever seen in college football, wins it. You look at Kyler Murray, was really good, narrowly beats out Tua Tagovailoa and Dwayne Haskins for it. Baker Mayfield wins it. Then you have the Lamar year where he was absolutely incredible. But even that came on the heels of a really good year before that. So you don't have to be a generational can't-miss guy to win a Heisman, but it really helps. If Emmett Johnson is back at Nebraska next year and picks up right where he leaves off after leading Nebraska to, say, a surprise win at Penn State and a tough, gritty home win over Iowa, and he plays well in the bowl game, then he probably has top 15, top 10 Heisman odds going into next year.
Yeah.
And that's when we can really start talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that subconscious thing that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a team that's winning a lot, people are just going to assume you are the best players across the country. If you're losing a lot, it's going to take a little bit more convincing and a little bit more research, and we know not everybody does the research.
Unfortunately true. We'll go to break. We'll wrap up the Husker Football Hour next year on The Ticket.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sat Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sat Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sat Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit satbros.net today. Sat Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
If the power is out, traffic lights might be too. If you come across a dark intersection, treat it like a four-way stop. See more tips at les.com/safety.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Schaefer's is celebrating its 79th anniversary with special rebates, financing, savings, and free delivery store-wide.
Update your home with innovative Samsung appliances and save up to an additional $900 with rebates. Samsung Innovation saves you energy and time with easy-to-connect appliance technology. Plus, during Schaefer's anniversary, get free delivery on your appliance purchase.
So hurry in during Schaefer's 79th anniversary event, going on now.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com.
590-5800. 5800. or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, Garage Doors, and more.
back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. This is the Husker Football Hour, one final time here, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. All in. Got Caleb Smith in the house for that coming up next here on the Ticket. Harrison, Nebraska gets a win in November. You and I talked about the November record on pregame. Just now, the second win in November for Nebraska under Matt Rule. Certainly the least stressful of the wins, right? Wisconsin went back and forth a little bit. Sure, Husker fans probably puckered up a little bit at the end. Either way, they do get the win. We did promise to talk a little bit about the defense. We'll do this in the couple minutes that we have left. Matt Rule threw out a stat today. Nebraska's defense, one of only 7 teams in the FBS that hasn't allowed 400 yards in a game this season. Is that something? Or is that, well, we're kind of grasping at straws trying to find something to boost the confidence of our defense?
I think you could. I think it's something, right? It's a little bit of a bend-o break defense, it feels like at times. So you could make an argument that we've done a good job on the year eliminating a lot of the explosive plays. We've had a few, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it's been the secondary, keeping stuff for going over their heads for, 60, 70 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is something. I think it's a sign of we're good at keeping too many explosive plays from happening in a game, because that's how you get to 400+ yards. You have some big ones.
It really is. And now Nebraska does outgain UCLA just barely. Neither team reaches 400 yards in the game. Going to be really interested to see what Nebraska can do, if anything, over the bye week to see if they can keep the Penn State and Iowa run games in check. You think about Penn State down to maybe it's third string quarterback at times, especially with Drew Aller out and then the backup banged up as well, but still 2 incredible running backs and a decent enough offensive line, and still a pretty nasty defense that'll want to probably slow the tempo of the game down. And then Iowa, whose offensive line is really clicking according to the people I trust that would write about such things. Oh, and they have a running quarterback as well at Iowa now. It's not CJ Beathard and who's the guy last year, Deacon Hill. The statues and
Almost feel
Alex
like
Padilla and Spencer Petras. No,
the
Gronowski can run.
Obvious thing for that Iowa offense since its origin with Ferentz is like, why haven't you gone for a running quarterback earlier?
Right.
That's all you guys do. Because
Right.
even in that Oregon game where they needed to score, now Oregon would respond eventually. What was the play call? They put everybody out wide. Quarterbacks and shotgun.
We here called it. We said they're going with Gronowski. Oregon, don't fall for it.
And they
trust your guys one-on-one on the outside.
They were outnumbered in the box facing Iowa on 4th and goal, and I think it was like 2 yards. And it's like, they're gonna run
the quarterback.
And Gronowski's a great runner, and then he does exactly that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised to see Iowa doing so much better offensively now that they have a quarterback who's mobile. But again, to me, it's always like, that should have been a remedy a long time ago with how those guys like to play. Like Deacon Hill being the most immobile quarterback possible with not a great passing offense just doesn't sound great. But, tip your cap, I guess.
So bye week ahead for Nebraska, a road game at Penn State and a home game at Iowa. After Nebraska splits the first 2 games in November, how confident are you that there's another win left on Nebraska's schedule to get the Huskers 8-4?
6. 6
on
out of 10.
On the Jay Foreman scale of 1 to 7, you said 10 though. Okay.
What's the 1 to 7 scale for?
Well, that's the Jay Foreman scale.
Foreman would zag for no reason.
So 4 is in the middle. Well, it's football, right? 7 points.
Fair enough.
Extra point.
Enough.
4 is right in the middle.
We'll go 5. We'll 5.
Okay.
We're just above. Because it's hard for me to be negative, man. Like, wow, I just don't see it after watching how good we looked last game. So with that in mind, and then you still got 1 game of tape with TJ Lateef. You got a bye week for this one as well. The question almost is like, which game is the game that you would feel better about? Unless you're thinking we go 2-0 to finish the year.
I do not think that.
Okay.
I do not think that.
So now we're at 1-1 or 0-2, and if it's 1-1, which game?
I still think that 1-3 overall in November is most likely. I think that Penn State runs it well enough that Nebraska has to prove it can stop it. I think that Penn State will stick with it. It's all they have. They don't have to do anything else crazy fancy, and maybe it works for them, maybe it doesn't.
Well, now these guys
senior day on the road.
Also play for contract a little bit too, which is not for contract, but it's now I don't know how much of an effect. We'll see if it kind of ramps up. And now there's money in the portal, so even if you plan on leaving, you don't want to crud out the last of your few games and go on with some bad stats, because how many major programs fired their head coaches? A lot of players are going to be on the move.
Yeah.
If you tank it down the stretch here. Now, I don't know, if they're going to be actually keeping that in mind or what version of Penn State we get after another tough loss, but I wonder if we do start to see a change where these games, even if you're a bad team and or have a bad record, because I don't think Penn State's a bad team necessarily, do they keep fighting like they're in contention for, even a bowl game or a college football playoff game? Because there is a little bit more at stake now that you can get paid.
In Nebraska, Iowa, I think, is probably just destined to be close no matter what. And yes, Nebraska's won, 4 one-score games or 3 one-score games?
That's 4.
Now with UCLA, maybe you trust Nebraska a little bit more. That's where I do start to worry about the freshman quarterback making his first start at home.
It's a little bit different than UCLA.
Different environment. It is. And I with a running quarterback, I'm sure it'll be close. Maybe Nebraska finds a way to pull it out. But I feel better about Nebraska against Iowa, but I still give Iowa a slight lean in this one. So that'll be it for the Husker Football Hour here on a Monday. We'll reconnect with Tom Shatel next week. Don't go anywhere, though. Plenty of great stuff coming your way on Ticket Weeknights. All in Caleb Smith and potentially Ridge Lovett, as well as always, DeMornay Personnel, Chris Raff, and Late Nights in Lincoln with DP. Back home from his trip out west. For Harrison Orange, this is Austin Oerman signing off. Thanks a ton for listening. We will talk again soon.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tag machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at the 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to PCMLincoln.